excellence in sports entertainment.
Right. I got two left hooves who on test. Well, since nobody's stepping to me, take me to your cult leader. Take me to your local drug dealer. Take me to the man in the mirror when you stand and deliver with your hand on the trigger, an emotional terrorist. I-double-M-U-N-E. Never make my enemy public. I'm a private dancer, dancing for money. Let's rock. Do that thing that's funny. I'll make you wanna move. I'll make you wanna do.
I make you want to move. What's up, guys? Welcome to Pop Monkey Radio. We are your hosts, Tony, Mike, and Malik, coming at you with another week of wrestling. We took last week off because I was deathly sick. It was
AKA the last real bald guy.
Listen, you don't respect that question. It's disrespectful, and you're not going to answer it, right? Say to me now. And a lot of stuff has happened in the last couple of weeks. Releases. Somebody's getting over, and they're not. It's not their doing. He's getting himself over. I feel like it's another Zack Ryder. We'll talk about that. Obviously, we're going to start right at the top of the show here. Rest in peace, Sabu. Obviously, we all have at some point or another watched Sabu's work. We were all, I don't want to say influenced by Sabu. I don't think anybody in this room was influenced by Sabu at all. But
while wrestling, I never thought of like taking chairs and jumping off of them. And I wasn't that athletic to do any of that.
Maybe. Thank you. I never once thought of doing a triple jump moonsault. I never thought once of diving to the outside using a chair.
I did. I thought of a barbed wire match once, but then I realized that'd be fucking stupid. So then
I've only thrown my fair share. I've only thrown my fair share of chairs. That's it. I could say he influenced me to do that.
He was a real pioneer, Sabu, in terms of the extreme style. I think a lot of people tend to. I don't want to say look over Sabu, but they tend to not really give him his credit. They always look at the other guys, like the bigger guys in ECW, like your Taz's and your Dudley Boys and your RVDs. You know, they tend to always. There's only like the hardcores remember him. A lot of times people always forget what his contribution to the wrestling business was, because he was not just ECW, he was in WCW. And considering how late it was in WWF when he wrestled Cena and all that shit like that.
He did Cena and Mysterio in like a week span.
That run was pretty good. His run in WWF wasn't bad. Or WWE.
He had a pay-per-view match with Cena, so that's pretty big for him, you know.
Yeah.
They said of all people, they said Vince McMahon loved him.
He was crazy.
That Vince liked the character.
Yeah. It's a shame that he had an insane problem, and nobody knows how it happened. Because listen, he just did his retirement match WrestleMania weekend in a barbed wire match where I thought if he was going to pass away in a ring, that would probably have been the match. Because that match was insane. Because
those two big bumps that he took, especially the one going to the floor, was wild.
That knocked him out cold.
Yeah.
That knocked him out cold. His head hit the concrete, and you get knocked out. And
at 60 to do that, you're like, whoa.
That's what I'm saying, dude. And then he was on the Legion of Skanks podcast like 2 weeks ago. So it was just kind of like happened out of nowhere. It was like just crazy. It was like the guy just had his retirement match. He had like what you would consider to be his swan song, right? A barbed wire match with like Joey Janela. That would be the way you would assume Sabu would go out. I mean, I don't think he should have done it at 60, maybe a little younger. But you know, it is what it is. Wrestlers hang on.
I've seen a few people complain about that, about him having this barbed wire match at 60 and the amount of bumps and stuff, and not directly leading toward his death, but I'm sure his body at this point was just brittle.
There have been guys older than him. The old gentleman that would do the Undertaker walk the ropes, Mike Jackson, was older than Sabu. Gypsy Joe, who was famously known for getting stabbed up by New Jack, was definitely way older than Sabu. We sit here, we could talk about age forever and a day, but it's like, these guys are going to do what they have to do in order to keep getting a paycheck.
Babe, just rewind it a little bit. I want to see when he's fighting Taz. No, that's when he was on WCW. Right here, right there, that one. Yeah. So a lot of people, obviously, these are the Sabu moments I remember.
Yeah, this is the first time. This is the first time we were probably introduced. I mean, I remember seeing ECW at 2 a.m., but never paying attention to it on MSG. But him going off of the top of the R is probably the first real time I remember seeing him.
Yeah. For me, my first appearance of Sabu was WCW for me.
Yeah, okay. I remember a lot of people talking crazy, like, "Oh, this guy's Sabu on Nitro. He's so cool." And I'm like, "Who the fuck is Sabu?" and I, you watch it and you see like he's just doesn't look like anybody else. First off, he had the baggy pants with the belt around his waist, and he would just use the ropes and chairs differently than anybody else. He was, like I said, he was a real innovator. Like I said, a lot of people don't give him his credit as what he did with wrestling, where it wasn't like he wasn't your standard run of the mill luchador. He wasn't doing like springboard Asai moonsaults and all. He could do it, but he would always incorporate it differently. Like he would do the one where he would jump over and sit on the ropes and do the backflip instead of Asai with his feet and shit like that. And that's what always stood out to me, was that he did a lucha style, but it was to the most extreme measure, and it stood out amongst all other luchadors. So if you were ever going to say luchadors, there's luchadors, and then there's Sabu.
Because he was a hybrid.
Sabu wasn't in, because he wasn't going to do arm drags and all that fucking fancy lucha libre shit. He was just throwing a steel chair at you. He was running off the chair, diving to the outside. He was literally using his body as a weapon. He, to me, earned that name: homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, death-defying Sabu, because, like I said, I had never seen anybody like him, and I've never seen anybody like him since. Like, he was literally an anomaly to me. And from WCW, ECW, WCW, WWE, it was always, he stood out.
And everyone talks about the Funk barbed wire match. He had a barbed wire match with Abyss in TNA. That is excellent.
Yeah, that was good too. Yeah. Full Metal Mayhem, I believe TNA called it back then.
You said that he was overlooked while he had ECW. It was during his time in ECW, and everybody speaks about Dudley's, Taz, Rob Van Dam. He's a guy who, to me, if you had to pick 4 out on the ECW Mount Rushmore, he's on there. He's on there.
Yeah, to me, he would be on there too, because, like I said, when I think ECW, he is generally one of the first people that pop up into my head. Is like the reason you watched ECW was because you couldn't see him nowhere else.
Yep.
Like that was the only place to see him. Like you knew about him he was on WCW for a very brief period, right? It was only
he was the start of Nitro was basically the time and run that he had, and he mostly, for the 3 matches I remember would be his match with Disco Inferno, the clip that we saw with him and Alex Wright, and his match at Halloween Havoc against Mr. JL, who we know as Jerry Lynn. Him moonsaulting onto Jerry Lynn and his uncle, the Sheik, was just a wild spot to have seen at that time.
Yeah. Well, the reason he didn't make it, at the same time he was saying that the reason he didn't make it in WWE was because he refused to cut promos. He didn't want to cut promos. Vince wanted him to talk. He didn't want to talk because he never spoke. Like Sabu never spoke. Sabu hated promos.
Yeah.
Because Vince wants you to articulate. Your cat is trying to find a way down. Oh, look at that. Impressive. Mike, we have a cat now. So,
and the rumor was also that time when RVD and Sabu got pulled over when RVD was the WWE and ECW champ. The rumor was that Sabu kind of took the rap for it.
Well, because listen, Sabu obviously is a loyal friend. RVD is the WWE champion. He's like, you can't take the rap. Obviously, they'll fuck you up. Like, speaking of barbed wire match right here, Sabu, which is everybody's most noted one. And I think that's, why it's the most notable one? Because this was the match where he gashed his bicep open.
His bicep, his tendon is like hanging out at one point.
And it's hanging out, and they fucking basically just taped his arm back together so he could finish the match.
The other moment that stands out in everybody's mind is obviously when Benoit broke his neck. It's just a wild and crazy moment. Like he's suffered so much to his body, period, that like in this year you're like, Sabu's wrestling and he's doing what? And he did it right before, you know.
When I saw that clip of him versus Joey Janela, I didn't even know that was Sabu because he was in like a white suit. I'm like, who the fuck is this? And I'm like, that's Sabu. I'm like, what is this poor guy doing to himself at 60? It was crazy.
Yeah, it was rough. And we talked about the Cena match. The Rey Mysterio match was good too. That he had. That was that one night stand, I believe. I think the second one, right? That was.
Yes, he appeared in AEW in recent memory for whatever reason. I forgot.
He was supposed to be part of the I would say Full Metal Mayhem, whatever their double cage match is.
Mm.
Blood and Guts.
I guess that didn't happen that way because it was against probably Jericho's faction at the time or something like that.
I think that's what it was. He was supposed.
It was just a weird time.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, rest in peace, Sabu. You'll never be forgotten in terms of the real wrestling fan. They'll always remember Sabu. They'll remember him fondly. Apart from his, obviously his addictions and stuff like that and his demons, like I've never heard anything bad about Sabu. Like he never hurt anybody. No one's ever said he was reckless. Everyone did not want to get in the ring with him. So, at least he could always hang his hat on that. He was good in the ring. As crazy and as reckless as he looked, he didn't hurt nobody. He never seriously hurt nobody. So, like I said, he will always be one of the, like I said, I say this, there's Lucha Libre and then there's Sabu, two totally different styles of high flying. And he literally made it his own. And no one since has done anything with steel chairs like he does. No one has even attempted to do kind of shit that he does.
Go back, if people want, go back and watch the whole build up for that first ECW pay-per-view when it was him and Taz. Because everyone always talks about the aura of Taz, which I get back then. Like Taz was the baddest man alive. That was what he was built to be. But when Sabu comes out, when the lights go out and come on, and Sabu's standing there, that the crowd eruption is insane.
That was a feud where it to me never really got started. It was always like Sabu and Taz hate each other. They were never like consistent, like a consistent feud with each other because Sabu was always in trouble or something was going on. But like when the lights go out and the lights come back on, he's standing there like this.
Yep.
And Taz is just standing there like this, and that place they're not even touching each other, and that place, the ECW arena, is shaking.
And I feel that's one of the first times you get something like that.
Yeah.
Like
ECW created those moments.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. He created those magic moments.
You never really. You could say when Hogan and Andre are standing there, but that's 70,000, 90,000 people. For what it was, like that moment for ECW is insane with them just standing. That literally probably sold that entire pay-per-view for them.
The very crazy thing is, dude, if ECW was around during the internet era, ECW would have been like a lot more popular than it already was. I think because they would have sparked real quick. Tristan T asks, "Is Taz Italian too?" Yeah, his name is Peter Sinertia, so I would assume he's got a little Italian in him. I think he's Italian and Cuban. Yeah, you do. Anyway. Now let's get to the main event of the stuff or whatever the fuck you want to call it. And that's Backlash happened over the weekend. John Cena versus Randy Orton, St. Louis, Missouri. There was a couple other matches on there that were interesting. Pat McAfee versus Gunther. Becky Lynch took on
Lyra Valkyria.
Lady.
Who else? Who's the
Fatal 4-Way for the United States Championship?
That one, okay.
We got the big debut of Jeff Cobb. Which now, or as they had put it on the internet, you take Rhino and Bo Dallas and you get Jeff Cobb. The fact that I didn't know that there was history between these two men, Jeff Cobb and Jacob Fatu, makes it even more interesting story. However, it does feel like every time you look up and you turn around, when you come from New Japan, somehow you're going to be entered into the bloodline. Though they're not calling themselves that, it just becomes more and more interesting. If you're Tongan, if you're Samoan, if you're Hawaiian, you're in.
Yeah. You're
mean,
probably
you could tell
related somehow.
you can tell Jacob isn't happy about it. Like the look he gives Solo, he's gonna pull the "I didn't know, I didn't need his help" type thing. You know, the payoff ultimately is Jacob versus Solo at some point.
Well, they're holding out on the story because I was like, Jacob Fatu is going to be on the post show. I actually looked at some of the post show for parts I wanted to see, and finding out that Jacob Fatu was on it, I was just like, what are we doing here? But he remained basically in character. He didn't come out to say how he felt about the whole situation. That'll more than likely be explained come this Friday night. Overall, it was a pretty solid match. Some people said that Drew McIntyre was helped out by a medical team. Don't know how serious, if there is an injury or not, but Triple H, I believe, on the press conference said he was fine. So we'll find out Friday night. But overall, it was a really great opener. It was the right call to have that be the opening match of the show. I was a little surprised that LA Knight took the L in the match. I thought Priest was going to get pinned, but it didn't come down to be that way.
Now,
I think they're okay with Knight taking the pin only because Jeff Cobb helped out.
True.
So it wasn't like a clean pin. It was he got beat up by two guys basically.
I have
Three
to point
guys,
out.
if you
I have to
Solo.
point out that I love Jeff Cobb, that move Jeff Cobb did to him where he
Tour of the Islands.
He threw him into the pole, and he was up against the pole, and he cross-bodied him against the pole.
Oh yeah, that was wild.
That was impressive. I was like, holy shit! I was like, that's cool. Like I said, it's cool when you see something new. You know, like I haven't never seen something like that before. So that was cool. But listen, I don't know who Jeff Cobb is. I know he's popular in Japan and in the Indies. He's been around for a while.
It's very funny. Also, one of the things that people have been discussing and talking about is like how much influence of Lucha Underground is now within WWE, from Kairi Sane to Io Sky to Jeff Cobb, to Penta to Phoenix. There's just so many off on the roster. So like, if at any point WWE does happen to buy Lucha Underground and put it up underneath Peacock and all that stuff to be on their network, that'll be pretty amazing because now you got that footage. That's the one thing Tony Khan won't have. If it comes out,
and actually, if they already have the deal with Netflix, and that's where it was on last, so it might even be an easier transition because it's already there.
Yeah, and considering a lot of your guys were there, you would want that footage so that people can kind of see all that stuff.
Oh yeah. The one issue I'm starting to see, and this is what I kind of feel like is happening. I feel like they thought Solo was going to be Jacob Fatu. They saw what Jacob Fatu was in the Indies, and they're like, okay, this is what we can make Solo. And then we bring in Jacob Fatu, and not to be funny, he's much better than Solo.
Oh, yeah.
Now we bring in Jeff Cobb. And Malik, you're definitely more familiar with the New Japan stuff, but I've seen plenty of them. And I feel like Jeff Cobb can now overtake Solo's spot. So I feel like bringing these guys in, the one person that's going to suffer from it is going to be Solo.
I mean, the man is suffering solely because, man, you haven't had a match at WrestleMania. So that's everybody's like, damn, Jacob Fatu not only got 2 titles on the main roster in under a year, but he also is on WrestleMania. He also was in the Royal Rumble, that's another thing that Solo has not done. Jeff Cobb coming on the scene is going to be very interesting because that they're going to more than likely put those 3 together, if not in 6-man tags, or maybe having the 2 of them just team up to just see where the difficulty is going to come in. But somewhere down the line, you're going to see Jacob Fatu as a babyface.
Oh, yeah.
That's happening. Yeah, I see that too.
And you can tell the fans are getting behind certain things. Like I said this to pun. I said when you watch Drew and Jacob in the ring at the same time, you could tell the crowd's getting like anxious. Like that they were waiting for that.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I like Drew McIntyre now.
Going heel
You're
is
not
the best
saying
thing that
anything
ever
wrong.
happened to him.
Getting released. It was before he got released. He was very annoying and stale. It was just like, ugh, like, dude, like you just.
When you're a member of an imaginary rock band, like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. You see, babe, you're seeing Drew McIntyre now, like Scottish Warrior. But before when he got released the first time, he was in a group called 3MB, 3-man band. And he
Okay,
had leather
all
pants.
right.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Let's back it up just a little bit. He was initially supposed to be the chosen one by Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people were heavy on that. I actually enjoyed it for the time being. And
Yes.
then once he lost the Intercontinental Championship, he got to be with Cody Rhodes. They were the dashing ones. And then before you knew it, he was just lost at sea.
Yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't until that release and going over into TNA and doing the indies and then coming back to be on NXT to be pushed up to the main roster did a lot for him. Nobody was crazy about him probably 3 years ago when he was carrying around a sword and cutting the ring ropes and all this stuff. Now, the Drew McIntyre that you see today, you're just like, okay, we're with this. Let's see where this goes.
I can get with this one because it's like, this is pro wrestling. The sword thing used to drive me crazy.
You also got to look at he carried the title. We've said this before during COVID, which was impossible. Like it didn't matter who was the champion. But if you look at when he eliminates Lesnar at Rumble, the pop and how the place goes nuts. Like how they built that up, because at that point Brock eliminated 15 people, I think, or 14 people. So for Drew to get that elimination, like you could tell, like, all right, there's a change. Like this is going to be the guy.
Yeah, and I think like right now, like he's like one of those workhorses where it's always good work rates, good matches, good promos, and it's only a matter of time before he finds himself back at the top with the championship again.
Yeah.
Speaking of releases, obviously, we'll get to the Cena match with Orton. I didn't watch, but you guys did. There's a lot of releases that happen over the last week, right?
You want to do that first? You want to finish Backlash first?
I guess you could finish back. I didn't see Cena match. The rest of them, like, listen, do you really care about everybody?
Becky and Valkyria, I can't say that was something that I was really in tune with. I did say to myself, man, if you really give Becky this win, that's going to be crazy. And then the internet is going to have more to complain about. I mean, the internet's going to have something to complain about all the time, period. But I was like, oh, look at that. She actually picked up the win, and we know that the rematch is coming down the road. I do wonder if it's going to take Becky getting an insurance policy, so to speak, a heavy-hitting enforcer possibly. And there are obviously rumors spreading around that it could be Lash Legend from NXT. Don't know if that's going to be factual, but we just have to wait to see how things play out.
So I'm going to tell you what my biggest issue with this match is, and I'm not a Becky guy. I never was. I don't see it. I've never seen it. The whole man gimmick, I've never been about it. Okay. But my issue with Lyra is I look at her and I see nothing special. Like you look at, especially right now, like to me, you know what Lyra is? Lyra is, if she was on the guy side, she's just like Dolph Ziggler. Like, yeah, she's a great worker. I don't think I would compare her to Dolph Ziggler, because Dolph Ziggler had something. He had the ability to talk. He had charisma. Lyra kind of comes off more like, and probably nobody doesn't like me saying this because she's a good in-ring worker, more like a Chris Benoit. There's not really much but the in-ring work that I'm in on Lyra with. If I like Becky Lynch, I prefer the big time Bex character over the man. Because when she was that type of villain, you were just like, man, I really can't stand this broad right now. Like, I would much rather prefer seeing that than still holding down this moniker of the man. Right. And what I feel with Lyra, what's happening is, Becky has the big time back the man thing. I feel like with Lyra, especially in a world now where you have Jade Cargill, attraction, Rhea Ripley, attraction, even, and I know Tony's going to hate this, Nia Jax. Like, I look at them, but at least there's something different. For me, Lyra is just another girl that just comes out.
Since Nia's return, to me, this has been her best work.
Agreed.
Period.
Agreed.
Now, my wife just said this to me, and I think I said this when it happened, but she said it's sad that she had to be a man to get over. Like, she had to claim to be a man. First off, I always refer to Lyra Valkyria now as the Bird Lady. The Bird Lady, like Coco Beware,
The day she comes out with some sort of bird, that's it. I'm done.
That's it.
Oh, that's gonna happen. She's gonna have like some white bird on her arm at some point. It's gonna happen.
She better have some Tengu warriors, like I said before.
As far as the Dom Penta match, I think that went exactly how we thought it would.
Oh yeah,
We're getting the build up for the Lucha Brothers to be together.
yeah.
They're going out. Yeah, here's the thing. Do you notice this? Now, obviously, we'll get back to Backlash, but I've noticed this recently, and I think I noticed it on Raw. Everybody now, when they're a heel, they're all doing the Cena thing. Well, you fans, she noticed it. I'll give her a
Oh,
no, bullshit. I did notice it. No. We're not going to do that. I did notice it. So
Greco, stay back, lovers quarrel.
She said it out loud. But I did. So I noticed that since Cena has broken up with the fans, a lot of people now are just blaming fans.
Well, I think that's a little unfair because the New Day were doing it before Cena.
Well, I'm saying it's just become the norm now.
It seems like more and more for me. What the way I saw it is that the people that turned heel were pretty much speaking their truth on a lot of situations, and everybody that the fans loved is now hated. You get what I'm saying? Like it's just the switch.
I don't know. She did notice it. She said it out loud, but I was noticing it since Drew McIntyre. Remember, Drew McIntyre was kind of like a baby, like a crybaby before WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, he was like blaming everything, and he was blaming fans. Then, like you said, the New Day did it. Now Cena's doing it. Now I notice Becky Lynch is doing it. Like it's all like I'm the victim, and Paul Heyman is doing it too. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. I'm a victim. That's like their new heel thing, where it's like I'm a victim.
Paul Heyman was telling the truth too, though.
He did. No, he did. When we said all that stuff, I was like, he's not wrong. When he was like,
yeah, when he was breaking down, I was like, this man's gonna have a stroke right in the ring right now.
He's gonna have a car.
I was like, calm down. We get it. I was just like, yo.
Yeah.
As far as the Dom match, like I said, it's everything we already knew. Nothing groundbreaking from that. The Gunther McAfee match, a lot of people are praising it. And yes, Pat McAfee took an ass beating. Okay, my issue is, I can care less about the ending, and like a lot of people are like, oh, Gunther like instantly like tapped out to Jay, but then Pat like passed out and blah blah blah. My issue with the match is the week before Gunther came out and said he's gonna hurt him in ways that he's never imagined, and he's gonna do things to him that like is unspeakable, and he beat him up, but at the same time, the guy was able to stand up and walk out. Where Jimmy Uso a month ago, you beat so badly to a bloody pulp. Like, that's kind of what I expected. Like, you could have had McAfee get his spots in, even a bloody McAfee stand up at some point. But to me, it just felt like it wasn't enough. It wasn't what you said it was going to be.
I get what you're saying, because the man was like, I'm going to maul you.
Yeah.
It's going to take the hands of God. And I was just like, you should have continued choking him when the match, even when the bell rang and the match was over. He could have just still been like, "No, I'm not letting go."
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
I get exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, and now Gunther shaking his hand. It's like, so you respect McAfee for taking an ass beating, but when Jay beat you for the title, you just rolled out and walked away.
Well. Yeah.
This makes me say, like, oh, are we turning Gunther face now? Like, what are we doing with this?
I hope not, because that's not what we need.
That made no sense to me. See, here's the thing: he didn't shake his hand. By the way, at the end of the match, he stands up. I'm like, all right, well, if he's gonna be all right, I'm impressed that you were able to take this ass whooping and still be standing afterwards. So I'm gonna give you respect. He kind of just like nodded, but the way he nodded was like the crowd didn't react to it because they didn't know what the fuck was going on. They were waiting for the shoe to drop. They were waiting for him to kind of just be like, I'm gonna shake my hand, boot, and then choke him again. They were waiting for that heel move, and it didn't come. And they were like, wait a minute. So because even my wife was like, oh no, he did this gentleman thing where he kind of nodded.
He gave him the Larry Zbyszko.
Yeah, he gave him like the Larry. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I do every week.
Yeah, my wife said that. She said, oh, he didn't shake his hand, but he gave him like a British gentleman like thing. And I said, no, you're right. But the crowd didn't see that. The crowd just saw him kind of like shake his head at him and then just leave instead of going like, here, you took a beating. Congratulations, you're still standing. like, and then like yank him in and choke him out. I think that's what they were waiting for.
Yeah,
They were waiting
because
for
there was
that.
a bit of awkwardness. They're just standing there. They're standing there, and I'm like, don't extend your hand. Please don't extend your hand. Keep your hand in your pocket. Put it in your tight something. I was just like, no, do not shake his hand. I was just like, he gave him the nod, and I was like,
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like what they did there. I'm impressed with the ability of Pat McAfee,
Yes.
but considering he's always just going to be a commentator, that's the kind of stuff you're going to get out of it. You can't do that kind of shit with Gunther because now you kind of derailed Gunther. Like to me, Gunther should have come flying out on Raw and attacked like Jey Uso. Should be cashing in a rematch clause. He wants to get back his belt. It's just bullshit. I just almost killed your brother by literally beating him with a bloody pulp and leaving him in front of you. And you said you're going to have to, become a different man to fight me. And then you just choke him out at WrestleMania. They have literally bitched out Gunther in the last 2 months. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this. He gets choked out to Jey Uso, rolls out of the ring like a bitch and leaves. Then comes back the next night, gets bitched out by Michael Cole. Then fight smacks around Pat McAfee. And now Pat McAfee basically turns around and goes, I took your best shot. And now I'm still standing. And not only am I still standing, but I've now earned somehow your respect. Where a minute ago you were yelling at Michael Cole because Michael Cole's like, just pin him. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't understand this. Like, this like a lot of people, like, listen, I'll be the first person to defend Triple H's booking and stuff like that. It's good. But you do get these duds. You will get them. You'll just be like, what the fuck? You'll scratch your head like, where is this going? Like, I don't understand this.
I just didn't think it should have been a long competitive match. That was my whole thing. That was it.
Well, I'm expecting like a blood, like Greco was saying. I was expecting a little blood, a little like violence, because he just said, "Well, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. I can't touch you now because I'm suspended. But when the event comes, I'm going to basically I'm going to make you find God. Basically, going to make you see put the fear of God in you because how bad I'm going to beat you. And all we got was a wrestling match and chops.
My brain is going that if he would have beat him as badly as we're all agreeing that he should have, you can't be on ESPN, you can't be on Raw, you can't be on this, you can't be on that. Yeah. So then, like, if he would have showed up, you would have been like, he's not really selling it, So
even if he didn't show up today to ESPN, like he had a scheduled day off, and it was like a perfect way to sell the story and everything. Like, it would have been fine. I was even okay with, like, during the match, McAfee would hit him with something, and Gunther would just no sell it at times.
That's what you expect.
That's what you expect. But like, I just think at the end, like, I just needed more violence.
If this wasn't Gunther, if this was anybody else, this match would be awesome. It's the mystique that Gunther brings, the aura that he brings to the ring with him, where he's the ring general and he will work you, he will beat you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And like I said, if this was anybody else and you watched that, everybody would be talking about how great it was and how great Pat McAfee is. But because it was Gunther, and you're left scratching your head wondering, like, man, this guy lost, and now this, like, what do you do with Gunther?
Okay, so now I'm glad you asked that question. I want to know what you would do, because for me, I would remove him from Raw and put him on SmackDown to do something brand new.
At this point, you should.
So
I'll tell you what I would do.
Okay.
And you have to. This is the hard part now with Cody, like, kind of losing also. But I would have Gunther sit there and go, I need to go back to where this all started. Actually, see, this is hard because you have so many other guys that interacted with Gunther. Like, you could have been like, I need to go back to start and where the mistakes all started. So you could have had him go after Sammy. Because, like, the downfall started when he lost to Sammy last year at WrestleMania. They constantly bring that up.
Okay, so I think is they're going to continue to bring that up because of how long his championship reign was as Intercontinental Champion. I don't think he needs to go back after Sammy, because when he faced Sammy last, he beat him. I don't think he needs to go. I don't think he needs to go back after Jay and so much of a hunt for the rematch, because it's like, I beat this dude so many times, and then when he goes after him, you know that he's definitely going to lose. Like, if they were to turn around and do the rematch and Gunther beats him, you go, what? You'll question that booking, because then you'd be like, what are they doing now? You'd just be sitting there wondering and not being able to agree with it as you see it. I think
Rough Shot said that he might have a baby on the way. That might be true. He might want to take some time off, be dad for a little bit. I don't know.
If that's the case, then we shouldn't have even had him show up the next night on Raw. And none of this stuff should have happened.
I agree.
Exactly.
But
It could've-
exactly.
I agree with you. He needs a fresh coat of paint. He needs to go on SmackDown. He needs a change of scenery. Like, there's nothing on Raw for him. Like, on SmackDown, I'm not listening. Obviously, you're not going to fight John Cena because John Cena is doing his thing with the
No.
belt. But
Yes.
at least he's on SmackDown now. Maybe you send some SmackDown guys to Raw, kind of switch it up a little bit, and give him like a new, like I said, a fresh start on SmackDown, and go from there. Speaking, like, listen, they did it with Damian Priest, and I think it's actually been a detriment to Damian Priest because Damian, to me, he seems to be falling on SmackDown, as on Raw he was on a rise. So it just kind of seemed like they shot themselves in the foot when they moved him over to SmackDown. But I don't think Gunther will suffer from that. I think Gunther's better than Damian Priest. I think Gunther is a better heel for sure, and you could definitely put him in better spots on SmackDown than you could Damian
Rough
Priest.
Shot says let him lay low, bring him back as well. My thing is changing the name doesn't really do much of
The
anything.
name change
He's still
doesn't
going to
do
be the
nothing.
same. He's still the same to me. Whether he's Gunther or Walter, he's still the same guy to me.
It's not going to change.
There's no real
That's
difference.
That's like if you sit here and tell me, oh, well, let's send Finn Balor to SmackDown and have him come out as the Demon. The moveset doesn't change. He's the
No.
same fucking guy. The only difference is he would have face paint on, and that would just be the end of it. And you would just kind of like, oh, it's Finn Balor. You know, so
Okay.
I just feel like maybe some time off and then come back as Gunther on SmackDown.
I could tell you the way. I could tell you the way you can give him some time off, and it's the easiest thing you can do. You have him in the Money in the Bank match because he doesn't have to take a pin in Money in the Bank. You have him at some point get on the top of a ladder, get thrown off a ladder through a table, and therefore you can have Gunther out of action for 2 months. 3 months.
It just hit me that they have to do qualifying matches starting tonight for Money in the Bank. Since June 7th is like literally not that far away, we have to do qualifying matches for that
weeks without a
PLE.
pay-per-view between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania, and then we have like 4 PLEs in like 6 weeks. It feels like.
Because realistically speaking, we just had Backlash. Contrary to what anybody says, Saturday Night's Main Event is looked at as a PLE now, in a sense.
Yes.
Then you have 2 shows in one day where it's NXT. What is it? What was it? Worlds Collide, and then you have
Worlds
Money
Collide and Money in the Bank,
and then Money in the Bank. It's all in that time. So like, like 4. You're right.
Yeah, and then what do you call it at the end of June? Also, aren't they in Saudi Arabia again in the end of June? Crown
Yes.
Jewel?
Yes. Late June. There they are. I think that. I think we'll get to that later. Let's go to the main event. I was going to say who do you think is going to be Money in the Bank. Let's go to the main event. John Cena defending his WWE Championship up against Randy Orton. They were basically playing the hits, pulling out the classics as far as certain spots went. Where Cena hit the shoulder block, and then he's coming for another one. Bam, RKO. Going for the AA. Bam, RKO. There were multiple ref bumps. There were tons of agents that are former wrestlers taking RKOs left and right, which is great to see. Now I feel like you've attacked Nick Aldis again. Now is the time for Aldis to be like, all right, it's time for me to go full, because he's been neutral in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
Now it's time for him to be like, all right, fuck this. I've had enough of you putting your hands on me. Now I'm going to start screwing you over because I have this power. That's what I'm waiting for.
I want Nick Aldis to get in the ring finally.
I thought something was going to happen when all this was going to screw him in that match.
That's good. That's interesting. I didn't see it.
You could have did that instead of. I don't hate the R-Truth thing. Like we kind of said it a little while ago. Like I think it was you, Malik, or me, or whoever said it about Cena beating up R-Truth. Like that should have been the ultimate. Like that's him going real heel.
Yeah.
But I also don't mind a Cena R-Truth match as a one-off on Saturday Night Main Event because Cena is advertised for that show.
Yes.
And you know what? He had a very funny feud with R-Truth. The little Jimmy thing came from the John Cena feud.
Yes.
All those years ago. So R-Truth holds like a special spot in John Cena's career.
The night of CM Punk's pipe bomb, I believe it was Cena facing R-Truth on Raw.
In a tables match, yes.
In the tables match, yes.
That's what I'm saying. So like, R-Truth and Cena have like this history, and that's a great way now to solidify John Cena's a bag. He put him through a table at the press conference, right?
Yes. So the way things went were, Orton basically had Cena dead to rights, and Orton hit all these RKOs. Cena's still down. 9 times out of 10, people are building up a collage of John Cena being laid out photos.
Mm-hmm.
From taking crossroads or being RKO'd. It's becoming very funny because he's laid out in the same position each time. He's getting ready to punt kick him because he's got him right where he wants him. And then R-Truth slides in and stops him. And then R-Truth, I think we saw at least like 10 or 12 RKOs, no lie, this past weekend. I don't even remember in my mind John Cena actually hitting a finish. I don't remember him hitting the AA at any point. I saw Randy Orton do it.
Wow.
Not once, but twice. And the first table did not break. The second one did. I was just like, this feels like me playing up against one of the boys in 2K25 where the match is just never ending. And what it took was a low blow and a title shot to get the 1, 2, 3. Cena grabs the mic. He was like, I know you can't see me, but you damn sure can hear me. Turn the music off, which I thought was hilarious.
That's good.
And he's basically stating, he didn't need everybody. But then there was a sign of like guilt for what it is that he's doing, where the fans are chanting, thank you, Cena. So it was just like, wait a minute. He's starting to feel bad that he's being an asshole, and he may come around and apologize. But all it took was R-Truth to come to the press conference, because he wasn't set to be scheduled to be at the press conference. The last person you're supposed to see was Triple H. He's there, and he's like, you know what? I should be, more appreciative of how you people are, and I'll answer some questions. And before he can answer the question that somebody had asked, here comes R-Truth, thanking him, how he believed in him, even when they said, you can't wrestle and Cena sucks. And for the first time ever, where a person says to another person, if you say one more thing, you're going to live to regret it. R-Truth says something, whatever it was that he said, and Cena just lifts him up, AA through the table. I was just like, finally, somebody actually makes good on their word.
It was like Wolverine and Deadpool, where he's like, say one word, say one more thing,
yeah,
open your mouth one more time. And he said something, and he got put through a table.
He said, I knew you could have done it. And then he said something, and he goes, not now, Truth. Don't be disrespectful. You're going to live to regret it. And then he said, even after they said you suck.
Yeah.
That set him off, and he put him through the table and just left. But I was just like, all right, so you're going to fight R-Truth at some point because now you broke R-Truth's heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guilt thing. I saw a video this morning about how it was, and it was not long. It was literally a 2-second clip while I was sitting on the toilet pooping. About how you kind of see like John Cena turning. He's got like this like guilt now of the fans cheering, thank you, Cena. And I thought to myself, well, what a way to shove it back in The Rock's face if you come out at the end of this whole stupor, when you come back to reality and you're not heel Cena no more. If you could have said, he sold me the world. He told me to sell my soul to him, and I would have gotten, and all along I had everything I already needed. I had the fans, I had the career. I didn't really need The Rock, but The Rock believed that he needed me to sell my soul. If you could just turn it that way, maybe you could turn him. I don't know, because what's going to happen in December when Cody Rhodes inevitably takes the title back from him? What is he going to do? Drop down to his knees and go, sorry, Cody, please forgive me?
My question is, do we really think he's holding the title that long?
The only reason I say that, because it's like, who takes the belt from him? And then if that happens, then where do you go from there? Now, what does he just continue to be a heel, or does he start the John Cena apology tour for the next 3 months before he leaves?
One question. We want to say and believe that when Cody defeated Roman Reigns, that elevated Cody, right? Does this further elevate him by defeating Cena for the championship? Does he need to be the one to do it? Or should somebody win Money in the Bank and do it? I mean, these are the questions that I have.
So I love
That's
the
a good point.
idea. Somebody else had this idea, and I ran with it. I love the idea of Cena finding a way to win Money in the Bank,
That'd be funny.
having him lose the title, and then like the next week cashing in and becoming the 18-time champion.
Well, that is insanity.
Okay, but
That
I like the thing of him feeling bad. I just think it's too soon. Like, I get it with Orton because Orton is probably his greatest rival, and like he feels bad what he had to do to beat Orton. But if and Orton made sense because it was St. Louis. But if this was 3 months from now, and now Cena's starting to feel bad, I would have liked it a lot more.
I think they're trying to plant seeds with it by teasing it little by little. So this was the start of it, and then obviously R-Truth flipping, getting him upset to the point where he's just like, "Nah, fuck it, I'm not dealing with none of this shit." I don't know when's the next time we're gonna see Cena, because when we do, I'll most likely be on shop buying more shit. Because that's the truth of the matter. The very moment I was just like, because Cena wasn't on SmackDown the week before last, and then I was just like, they're not even in Dayton, Ohio. I was just like, what? And I was like, oh, it's for this past Friday. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. So, that's how I know Cena's going to be around, when his merch pops up in my newsfeed, and I have to buy it. You're laughing, but I have a Cena jersey coming to me today, and another Cena t-shirt, the green one, the one they were in Texas.
I will say, I felt the match was much better than the Cody match.
Oh,
It just felt
100%.
much smoother. I don't hate the nut shot and the belt shot. I just hate that as the finish. Like, if he would nut shot him, belt shot him, then hit him with 1 AA, I'm okay with that. I just hate the belt shot as the finish.
Okay. See, I remember, was it you, Pung, that said last night? Because now that I'm reading it, about CM Punk taking on John Cena. I think you said something about it, right? No.
Yes. I said it for Money in the Bank, but then you made a very good point that it would.
I was just like, I was like, how will we move him away from what he's dealing with as far as taking on Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman, and Seth Rollins? Like, you can't move that away. And I feel like if they're saying Roman Reigns is coming back soon, Roman Reigns and CM Punk have to coexist, team up against these two in a tag match.
Agreed.
For Money in the Bank as one of the headlining matches for Money in the Bank.
Or you're gonna do Cena, you're gonna do Punk and Sammy versus Roman and Braun. Somebody will get involved. You'll get a new member to the whatever they're calling themselves.
I'm glad you just brought that up, because Paul
and then
Heyman
Roman can come out.
Heyman on Monday said this is just the beginning. Who do you think would be the third man? If they brought in a third, who would be?
All signs point to Austin Theory right now.
Austin Theory has been doing nothing since being a tag champion with Grayson Waller last year. Austin Theory is somebody that obviously was a Vince guy that Vince wanted to push to the moon. And then when Triple H took over the book, everything began to change. Yeah. And they basically have brought him down to the bottom. I think Austin Theory should get his shine now. It would be nice. It would be nice to see him come in as another young guy into that faction. But we don't want to put him back at another tag team, because Braun Breaker needs to remain as a singles competitor.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree.
What I love hearing about Theory, and it was Grayson Waller himself who has said it now numerous times. Grayson Waller has said the character you see on TV, that's who Grayson Waller is. Like, he loves it. He loves being a dick to people. Like, that's just who he is. He doesn't hold back about it. He said Austin Theory is the exact opposite. He said there is no one that loves more kissing babies, shaking hands than Austin Theory. And that's probably, to me, what saved him with the company. And I think that Austin Theory went through his Triple H eating shit phase, and now Austin Theory deserves the time to actually get a run at some point.
Yeah. I think they turn Austin Theory babyface. That seems where they're going with it.
That I thought about that too, because it's like between him and Grayson Waller, this buildup of teasing that Waller's basically a trash friend. Like, why not have these two in a match yet? And I'm like, why haven't they pulled the trigger on this? Why are we teasing this for so long? They even teased it so much to bring it down over to NXT for them to have something to do there, just to continue to get Obafemi over. Because I don't think they had anybody else selected for that time, and they were just waiting for WrestleMania weekend to do that big triple threat match. And Obafemi obviously is the king of the triple threats at this point. So, I'm very curious to see where this faction goes. I don't really believe there was parts of me that felt like maybe Becky would be involved, but I'm like, I don't think she needs it. She's fine being on her own. Let's just see where they go with this.
You said something about an insurance policy. Didn't they say something they're going to bring somebody up from NXT to be?
Yeah, Lash Legend, possibly.
Oh, okay.
Which okay,
I don't think Becky needs to be with Paul Heyman and all them. I think that's
No,
and I kind of like that at least because Lash Legend's like I'm not saying she's a big girl, but she's a big girl.
No, she's a big girl.
She's a big girl.
I don't know if she was a former cheerleader or basketball player, one or the other.
You would believe that.
I think she was a basketball player.
Yes.
You would believe her as an insurance policy is what I'm.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yes. Yes, because she's going to be bigger than most of the women on the roster, and if she's on Raw helping Becky, she's away from what do you call it, Nia Jax and Jade Cargill,
Correct.
so she's the biggest woman on Raw.
Yes. You made mention about R-Truth possibly facing Cena at Saturday Night's Main Event. It's already been set that Jey Uso will be defending his world championship against Logan Paul, and I said if we did that match and we finally put Jey Uso in a main event of a show, does having R-Truth against John Cena overshadow it? And my answer is yes.
Yeah. And then once again, opening match main event Jey Uso will.
But here's the thing: you guys just said it. They have 5 pay-per-views in a matter of 4 weeks. Apparently,
yes,
yes.
You can put R-Truth and Cena anywhere at this point, and it'll be fine. Maybe just not put it on Saturday Night's Main Event so that it doesn't.
Okay, so Saturday Night Main Event, May 24th. June 7th, Money in the Bank. June 28th, Night of Champions from Saudi Arabia.
Don't forget that NXT pay-per-view on the 7th as well.
Okay. Oh, you want me to throw in NXT? Okay, so Saturday Night Main Event, May 24th. May 25th, Battleground. June 7th, Worlds Collide. June 7th, Money in the Bank. June 28th, Night of Champions. July 12th, Saturday Night Main Event.
To go up against what's that? Yes. All in, all out, whichever one.
August 2nd, August 3rd, SummerSlam. August 31st, Clash in Paris. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 events from now until September 1st.
That's fucking crazy. That is mind blowing. 10 events.
And I'm gonna say, because we have the what do you call it, the Battleground pay-per-view May 25th. I'm gonna say that there's another NXT before then.
I'm gonna tell you something. I did not even realize that there was an NXT pay-per-view in this month. I gotta tell you, as much as we all are on this podcast to do this, for you guys out there that are willing to watch it, there are days that I don't want to watch wrestling. Because it's so damn much.
Guys, I'm
subscribed to almost every goddamn thing.
I'm going to give you something right now that's going to make us all very excited and has nothing to do with wrestling. Michael Jordan will be joining the NBA on NBC Peacock team when they launch.
Get the fuck out of here, really?
As a special contributor, the network announced.
Wow. That is big news.
That makes us all happy in this chat.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Anyway, let's get to the releases. A lot of people got released over the last couple of weeks. Some of which were like calculated. Like apparently Braun Strowman was like he can come back when he needs to. It was only like a financial thing or whatever. Like they didn't have a spot.
Well, because they were paying him a lot of money. They were paying him a lot of money when he left. They started paying him a lot of money when he came back. Braun Strowman predominantly was around to get other guys over. Bronson Reed, Jacob Fatu. So letting him go and they're barely using him like that is understandable. I just think that the ugly part is that I don't know if it was during the roast or was it on McAfee's show where Paul Heyman said Braun Strowman was crying or whatever, that he wasn't on WrestleMania, and Heyman said, well, it's because you suck. And then the next week, one of the first names to get released, I was just like, that looks ugly to me.
Yeah.
That looks ugly. It's just like
it was on
shit.
McAfee, and I don't think it was intended. I think it was just bad timing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You know,
Paul Heyman has no control over who gets released. So
What
yeah,
I've
I
seen
was
with
just
the-
like,
what I've seen with the Braun Strowman thing is because they're still paying him from his that last contract. Like that
Oh,
last
that's-
contract never ended. So I think by them releasing him, I think with the exception of AEW, he could pretty much go anywhere and do anything,
Yeah.
and he's still getting paid by WWE.
Who was the release that kind of took you off guard and surprised you guys? You're like, I didn't think they were going to release that person.
I'm gonna probably say Shayna Baszler because especially she just started doing a lot of stuff in NXT.
No, I don't want to do this.
I don't think it was Shayna Baszler because I felt like her time was coming to go. Like I'm surprised they actually said, "Oh, we'll keep Zoe Stark." Like I'm a little surprised by that because
So,
her with all these things about Liv Morgan and are we trying to promote OnlyFans? We're going backwards and all this stuff. I was just like, is she speaking out or is there going to be a payoff to this?
Mm.
I think there might be a payoff. I think they see a lot in her. And from what I've seen in matches, she's not terrible in the ring.
Zoe Stark is good, period. There's just not really much flavor to her, if anything.
Well, and the problem with that is you can't have 4 badass characters. So they're going to keep the one that's got the newest coat of paint on it and just get rid of all the old ones.
Okay. If there's anything that I noticed that some people that I know personally don't like are bland people that have no character or people who just utilize their culture as a gimmick. And I could see and understand that. And also another thing is everybody wants to be a badass. There's got to be something
Well,
different towards all characters. Not
Yeah.
everybody can be the badass.
Well, you know what the
Because
funny is? This is now I don't really watch SmackDown a lot because I'm usually live streaming and other shit. But like, I think that's why Chelsea Green is over because she's not a badass. She's a silly ass and doesn't mind making a fool out of herself to get over or to make people laugh, and that's why she's getting over right now. As opposed, like you said, everybody wants to be a fucking badass. Nobody wants to look silly. Nobody wants to be laughed at or whatever the fuck. And in the end, you have to at some point have the laugh be on you. The joke has to be on you at some point,
right.
especially if you're a heel.
Chelsea Green
Well,
is my
I-
top pick to win Money in the Bank, by the way.
God damn it. I was just going to say that.
I'm glad I beat you to the punch.
Son of a bitch.
That's my
Yeah,
top.
I think
That's my top pick. I've been saying it. I was just like, oh, she signed a new contract. I said, good things are coming to this girl.
everyone's
She
so
just
mad
signed.
that she dropped
Every
the
time.
U.S. title, and it makes sense because she's losing matches now more and more. It's the classic like build up to the person that's gonna win Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Like I like for let's see, the tag team of Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. I'm not surprised that they were some people were either let go or some people it was a case of their contract not being renewed.
Non-renewal, yeah.
Okay.
Dakota
you know,
Kai, I know I've seen people upset about Dakota Kai. Every time they've given her the ball, she gets hurt.
she's the Derrick Rose of the
Derrick
WWE.
Rose.
She got bad knees. She's got
Yeah.
bad knees. I'm sorry. That's what it was.
That was a great analogy, though, Derrick Rose.
But then if we're gonna say that, I would have let go Nikita Lyons before I would have let go Dakota Kai. Because she's also the Derrick Rose of NXT.
I agree.
Some people
And-
aren't. They're just not built for this. They're made of glass, and when it starts to pick up, when it starts to,
Well, and I'm
Like
going to give
Record
you another
said,
prime example of that. NXT releases Cora Jade.
Like we said, Cora Jade. To me, I remember watching a TNA and she was on commentary, and I wanted to just watch the rest of the show on mute while she was on commentary because that voice is just whining and droning, and I couldn't take much more of it. And I was like, that's kind of a thing that's, I guess, good to have for a villain, maybe. But as far as everything else, I was just like, realistically,
No,
people can
'cause
look at it. Well, Roxanne Perez is carrying her.
Right, and I'll give you better because I get what you're saying about the voice. Chelsea Green has that voice, but you laugh at Chelsea Green when she's talking. It's like you said, she's meant to be the idiot. Cora Jade's
Yes.
trying to be the bad girl, but it's just not who she is.
And she was another one with injuries as well, and I think that's another reason why when people say age, I was like, that's really stupid to go by age, because I was like, granted they are stars and they're veterans, but I was like, Orton, Cena, AJ, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin are all guys that are pushing near 50, and they still look great for being in the ring.
Yeah.
Because if they wanted to cut these guys, they would have been gone.
Yeah.
So I don't
Now,
want to
to
say
me,
it's
the-
based on age.
What about
me,
the rumor
Yeah.
about cutting people because of work ethic? They were lazy, weren't working hard.
I mean, that's not impossible.
Mm.
But again, those are just, once again, rumors.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I mean, I was a little surprised about Gigi Dolan, especially you got this whole thing with her and Tatum Paxley, and you were kind of I could have seen them as a tag team on the main roster.
That was the thing that shocked me, because then I was just like, I think they also let go Shotzi, but I remember Shotzi also being on the list of people that were injured more often than not. When that leg starts to go, that was it.
Shotzi was one of those contract things, I believe.
I hate to say it, but I think Gigi Dolan went down when there was no more toxic attraction or fatal attraction, or whatever they called it.
Whatever it was.
Once that faction was gone and Mandy Rose was gone, I was like, oh, you dead in the water too, girl.
Someone that hurt both mine and Malik's feelings getting released was one Miss Jakara Jackson.
I think that she should have stayed on, not based upon looks, but I think that she had a really good thing going with Lash Legend. And if you're going to continue to have women's tag team championships, that was a pretty decent tag team to have, especially the fact they were used so much on the main roster within the last year. You thought there was going to be some sort of change and they would have been moved to SmackDown. It didn't happen.
Which is what tells me that then there was a deeper issue.
That's what I was just about to say. That if you think maybe they're bringing them up to the main roster to see, all right, let's see if they fit, and maybe they just didn't fit. Maybe it was just like not working in terms of what would he was a deeper rooted issue that they just couldn't get around, and they were just like, you know what, this ain't worth the investment. Just fuck it. Let's just let's make this girl's insurance policy and cut ties with this one because it's just not working.
Let's see. The faction Gallus has not been worth anything since they had NXT UK. If I'm being honest.
Yep.
That was where they were their hottest at. I was a fan of the guys. I think that it sucks that they really didn't get much of a fair shake once they got moved to the United States and moved on to NXT. The best thing they're going to be recognized and known for is getting The Rock ready for WrestleMania 40. I hate to say it that way, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the guy. Eddie Thorpe was a little surprising considering everything he's been.
He beat Trick 2 months ago on one of their NXT pay-per-views, and you're like, you put this guy in like a main story and main event, and then you're like, okay, see you.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Can I say something real quick? I said this to you guys in chat. Trick Williams, he kind of sucks. Like from what I see of him, I'm not impressed at all by Trick Williams at all.
I kind of agree.
Like
Trick Williams to me is, and I'm probably gonna be stoned for this. Trick Williams is great on the mic. He has awesome charisma. He's in great shape. His in-ring from 2 years ago to now, to me, is a little better than where we first saw him at. But to me, some people are going to find him to just be a really tall slick. If you remember, he used to manage Akeem and the Boss Man and the Warlord and so on and so forth.
I was wondering if that's who you're referring to.
My issue with Trick is I feel like Trick is such a better babyface because as a wrestler, I feel he's kind of limited. So like he can't carry the match, but as getting beat up and making the comeback, it's easier for him.
Okay, so you like him coming from behind.
Yeah. Only gay on Tuesdays, Tony. Only on Tuesdays.
I'm trying to figure out who else was released.
All right, I have one that was pure. This guy, this is what shows you that these guys now have this mindset of, I can go anywhere and do anything. They said Riley Osborne was released because they asked him to go down to Evolve and start helping out with some of the guys down there, and it would be like a way of like people knowing who he is, and he refused. He said he was beyond that in his career at this point.
Well, we know, but here's the thing: Riley Osborne is one of those guys that where you're like, I know where you fit at. You all elite, bro.
Yep.
I hate to say it, but
Yep.
if we see Riley Osborne, it's either going to be there or New Japan.
Yep. Go have fun.
Because-
Go have fun fighting the guy that wears no shoes with kick pads. Enjoy.
Because okay, so oh my god.
We'll get to that later.
So my thing is now that people have been released, there's only been one person that has spoken. Now, some people say everybody when they get released from WWE, they have something negative to say. Sometimes if they do have something negative to say, it could be about another wrestler at times.
Yeah.
But apparently Cora Jade, since being released, has been outspoken about whatever it is. And laying claim to being body shamed, I think. And
Yeah.
I was just like, who would body shame her?
People
Now her being body shamed, I'm like, you went out and got some new ones. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Some new ones. You no longer with the company. You got X amount of weeks left before you could just be free to do whatever. And what's going to happen next is she's going to be judged for having an OnlyFans. I can already see that coming.
Well, if she thought she was going to get back to the WWE, this is not the way to do it.
Well, no.
I don't know.
She is taking the route of a Lacey Evans. She's taking the route of a Mandy Rose, which, like, Mandy Rose still has nothing but negative things to say, but in the long run, she doesn't realize that she screwed herself up.
Right.
By you having that type of content and you're telling the fans, well, don't say anything, you know that your stuff is going to leak, bro. Stop being dumb. What are we doing here, big man? Like, what is wrong with you?
People are stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
They want more money. Their eyes lit up. Like, here's the thing, and I'm not trying to be a dick, but that's the easy way out. That's the easy road. Oh, I'll just show my boobies on the internet, and that I don't have to go get booked. You know, I'm gonna point out Matt Cardona had a great fucking tweet to everybody who got released. Don't complain. Don't talk shit. Go be great in the indies and become something undeniable that they can't ignore, and they have to resign you instead of leaving, talking shit, complaining about being body shamed, and then going to start an OnlyFans, thinking that you complain about being body shamed, and now you're gonna go start an OnlyFans. Does that fucking make sense?
I bet you they won't be shaming her then.
You're a fucking moron, and you know what? Do us all a favor and stay on OnlyFans. Don't come back. That's the way I look at it. If you're gonna walk away, you're gonna talk shit. You weren't that good when you were there. I've never seen this chick. I've never seen her once. I've seen one thing. She does this. That's all I've seen. I've seen nothing else from it. I've heard no good things about this fucking dummy. All I know is she got released, and now she's starting an OnlyFans. And in typical street trash fashion, I can't do this no more. So I'll do the next easiest thing, and that's just show all of it on the internet so that you guys can pay a fee now. Because
I don't even think she's going to show all of it.
Who knows what the fuck she's going to do? The bottom line, here's the bottom line. The bottom line is she's going to trick you fucking people to think she's going to show it all because that's what they do. Oh, come on here. This is exclusive content. You got to pay for it. I'm going to bear it all. You're not going to see this anywhere, right? It's it's an easy way out. And that's not the way back. So whoever told you, oh, start an OnlyFans and do all this, and you think that that's going to be your ticket back, if this was your dream to be a WWE superstar, that's not the way back. I hate to fucking break the news to you. The way back is you leave and you work harder in the indies and in TNA or AEW, wherever the fuck you go next, and you work your fucking ass off until they go and see and go, oh, wait a minute, maybe we made a mistake. Maybe it is there the whole time. We just didn't see it. Let's bring them back. That's how you're supposed to do it. You don't just go, fuck this. I'm just going to trick all these fucking...
It's going to be great next in 6 weeks when she comes out on AEW and says, I've returned to where the best women wrestle.
Yeah.
Oh, you just
womp, womp. Do all favor. Stay on AEW, you fuck hard. Now, let's
and here's the thing. Tony, I know you're not a big fan of AEW.
Not a big fan. Jesus Christ, that's an
Greco, you're kind of like me. Greco, you're kind of like me, where you're in between, and at times you'd be like, "Well, I can't stomach this." Like I said
want it to
before,
be
and I'll say it again.
I do. I want it to be good.
I enjoy watching AEW from the start, if I'm being honest. Watching the older episodes. There are just some things where it's just off, and there's some people where the star power is not what it once used to be. Because I feel like MJF has fallen, but they're trying to make some sort of resurgence with him with the Hurt Syndicate, so that at least they're trying. But not everybody on there is that to that point. Kenny Omega was sick and gone for so long that I don't think people care about him as much as they once used to. And especially if you're stuck in a story where you're basically working with your friends who are also EVPs, like there's just some stuff that I'm just like, we could switch this up.
And you're trying to build a match that isn't happening until the middle of July. You started a month and a half ago with him and Okada. Like you could see the writings on the wall.
She was like, I can't get a word in edgewise, so you know what? I'm going to make you guys read the comment.
Don't just put your microphone down. Get a camera.
I want them to see it because you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. You made a good point. I want people to see it. I can unmute you, babe. All you got to do is ask. So listen, I don't care about the releases. There was not one person on that list that I was like, oh shit, that sucks. Every person I read on the list, either I said, who's that? Or I was like, oh, this guy, like Braun Strowman. I was like, I don't see anything. I see a giant guy, the attraction, but the attraction is gone. So it's just, I don't really see anything. So there was nobody of note to me that they like, oh, fuck, that person's
now,
and
I have a question. Do you think there will be more releases coming soon?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
Now, I got to ask something because I'm going to just say about one guy. Imagine you're not seen on TV for quite a long time. And then when people see you again, you're a part of a different wrestling promotion while still being signed to WWE. And you're a giant. You're not just any kind of giant. You're a Nigerian giant. You did your thing in Japan, and people are giving you praise for it, and then afterwards you're brought back out of Japan to come back to the United States. Do you think there is a point where they actually begin to do something with Omos? Or will he be one of those future people that the company may release? That is a question I am asking.
My big issue with Giants is like they have a shelf life. Yeah. So like the attraction is cool at first, and then when you see like their move set and you see exactly what their like athleticism, what they're made out of, then the clock begins. How long before we get bored of seeing this same shit over and over and over again? And almost I because he's so inconsistent on TV, I don't know what you would do with him and how you would. Honestly, I know this may be a bold proclamation, but I'll say it. I would put him in Heyman's faction.
Yep.
Yes.
At least Paul Heyman can be a voice for him. And you can put him and you can maneuver him into positions where he would help Seth Rollins as a great insurance policy. The best, obviously, because he's fucking massive. And it's believable where now, like you said, you can leave Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman doesn't have to be the meathead muscle. He can be the middle workhorse guy that wins the Intercontinental belt back or wins whatever. And Almost is the muscle guy. I put him there.
If you took him and you put him there and you set the scene where it's Rollins and Breakker up against Punk and Reigns, and that's the man who comes in to cost these guys the match because the faction is building, so they have to take that win. CM Punk and Roman Reigns could take a loss. It won't hurt either one of them at this point. I think that would be the next best choice. I will say I will also say this. If Nikita Lyons does not get released, I am truly amazed. Truly amazed.
I'm shocked. Flying under the radar.
I have three things for this Omos thing. One, I wouldn't put him as the heater for Seth. I put him as the heater for Heyman.
That's what I'm saying.
He just has to be Heyman's bodyguard. Yeah. But I also think at the same time, like the guy we could see wind up being at is Hikuleo.
People keep saying that he's signed, but we haven't seen it. And I'm just like, is he?
If I be quite honest with you, enough. Enough signing every single Samoan guy under the
Yeah.
fucking sun.
Yeah.
Enough.
And then thirdly, which I think this is the only issue, I almost feel like you have to put a tag team with the Heyman group, because if you put an individual, it's then just going to feel like Braun is then going to be relegated to a tag team title.
Tag team.
You know something? You know something, Tony? You're right. Don't sign a Samoan. Sign a Tongan, because that's what Hikuleo is. So we easily get away with that because he's not Samoan.
I have no issue. Listen, everybody knows how I love the Samoan wrestlers. I love them all. But enough is enough. The
Yeah.
bloodline is done.
He used Spot 2 basically as the last name to his character.
So, like, the bloodline is gone. Both bloodlines are gone. Enough trying to be, we're going to bring in this guy, Hikuleo, whatever the fuck his name is. Enough. Just put almost. You already signed the guy. He's already under contract with you. Bring him in and have him be with Paul Heyman. Stop trying to bring in another Samoan, another Hawaiian, another this. We get it. The Rock is in charge. We get it. It doesn't have to be the whole Samoan family. This isn't Samoan wrestling entertainment. Like come on now. Like we don't have to sign every single Samoan guy under the sun.
I think I started something, or rather you did, because you mentioned Hikuleo. Remember the last time we did this show and he went on his rant about The Rock? You're allowed to make him start with part 2 of this. This is going to be your fault right now.
We're talking about releasing, and I'm surprised that this guy didn't get released after what he said at WrestleMania, and that's Karrion Kross. And I want to make right now on this show a plea. Could we please feature that guy more?
It's
Can
coming.
we put this guy on television more? I'm so sick and tired of watching dummies, and this guy cuts a great fucking promo, and it's on a commercial break. You don't even see it. It's fucking crazy. That guy is worthy of his shot, and it's time. It's time.
It's coming. You could feel it. You can see it. I think that now that the ball is rolling with it.
Because here's my thing. You just talked about badasses, right? You just brought up badasses. Have you guys seen him break the bats?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Snap him in half? Yes.
He snapped 3 bats in half, right over his foot.
Did you hear the story about how he said how that started?
No.
He was in a gym, and as a joke, like somebody was trying to do it, and the person that was trying to do it actually snapped their arm doing it. And the crack was so loud, everyone thought it was the bat. It was actually the guy's arm snapping. And he went, I think I could do that. And that's how it started, basically.
Yeah, and now he's doing 3 bats at a time.
Yes.
3.
Yes.
The guy's a legitimate badass. He can fight. He's a boxer.
I don't know if it was
and
the
he's great on the
quarter.
mic, man.
I don't know if it was the quarter or if it was just the last week. Number 1 in t-shirt sales.
Yeah. Number 1. And like I said, no one the crowd is telling you. We like this guy. We want him in featured. We want him in matches. We want to see more of this guy. And like I said, instead you're getting the same tired ass shit. Where I firmly believe that guy, if you give him the ball, he won't drop it. He won't, because he knows how important this is, and he knows what it means. Because the guy's been busting his ass for years. Now, I've been a fan of this guy for a very long time. When he was Killer Kross,
he was third top selling in t-shirt. He was ahead of Cena and Orton.
Yeah, and now he's number 1. He's officially
Insane.
number 1. Yeah, because
Insane.
he posted it on his Twitter. So I don't want to fucking hear it. I think it's Karrion Kross's time. I think he has now proven to you that he can get over. He can get over with no help, help, because he has none. And he's still getting over. And he cuts, like I said, he cuts one of the best promos in the company. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You can argue with me if you want, but he cuts great promos. He sets you up where you're like, that's interesting. I wonder how that's going to play out. He makes you think, and that guy is
the entrance.
It better happen now. The everything.
Entrance, when done right with Scarlett, is probably I won't say the best, top 3 entrances in wrestling.
Yeah. He's got something, that guy, and like I said, it's time to light that candle, because like you're gonna wait too long, and it might be too late. So I don't want them to fucking fuck this up. This guy now has literally, and I was reading that he pays for his own promos. He pays money for his own things. He does how much more does he got to show you that he wants it? How much more does he got to show you? I'm ready. Give me the fucking ball.
Yeah.
Give him the goddamn ball and let him run with it. And I guarantee you, no one's going to be disappointed.
And if you want to do it, if you want to do it where you have, I know you're going to have Seth at some point be the champion on Raw, but if you want to leave it as where the SmackDown title, like how it used to be back in the 2000s, the Raw title was the big guy, the established guy. The SmackDown title was the guy that we're going to give the chance to. You could do that the same way now. The SmackDown title is going to be the big one. Like, that's your main title. But your next in line title, you want to make that the Raw one? That's the perfect opportunity for a guy like him.
I agree. And Jey Uso is a great person for him to fight. Babyface, crowd loves him. And I think Karrion can get a lot of heat and can generate a lot of talk. And that could be a great marquee feud for Jey Uso. I have no issue. I have no issue.
That's something that is gonna start transpiring coming 2 weeks for Saturday's main event.
I'm hoping, man, because I feel like this guy, between becoming a top T-shirt selling guy, I don't know if you guys saw his documentary on YouTube. It was
I haven't watched it yet. Okay,
it was fantastic. It was great, and you understand, like you got to see like how passionate and how fired up this guy is, and how much he loves the wrestling business, and how much he's given to the wrestling business, and the fact that he went on that Josh Barnett thing and was like legit. Like, obviously, it's still a work because it's wrestling, but he did a fantastic job. Where you're like, holy shit, this guy's fucking good, man. Like I don't understand how they are overlooking this guy, and now the audience is like, stop overlooking him. Enough overlooking this guy. This guy deserves your fucking attention, and it's time to pull the trigger on Karrion Kross. He is ready. I firmly believe that he is ready. Whether it's an Intercontinental title run, whether it's a heavyweight championship run, whatever it is, it's time to put some stock in this guy and see where it goes. That's all I wanted to. That was my rant this week. I feel like Karrion Kross is being ignored, and it has to stop. This guy is too good, and we have to stop. Just look at this shit. This shit's good. This shit's better, right? No, this guy is good. Stop fucking ignoring what you have. You released all these people. They suck. They were no good. They were wastes of space. This guy is showing you he will take whatever fucking airtime you give him and make it not only entertaining, but memorable, way you talk about it the next day. You talk about it a week later. That's what it's about, man. And he's got it. You want to talk about an it factor? I firmly believe that this guy has it, and they're ignoring it. And it's time to stop ignoring it.
Well, let's hope that it's a case of timing being everything, so that way we get to see him do what we get to see him get that airtime.
Yeah. And another guy who's getting plenty of airtime and deserves 100% more is Gringo Americano. That's all I'm listening.
Agreed.
That guy's flavors. I love Chad Gable.
Now, I would like to then go back to the AEW stuff, because there is something that needs to be talked about. And no, it is not the buffoon that wrestles with no shoes and kick pads. Okay,
dude, don't even be starting that motherfucking moron.
Why in the year 2025 do we want to see Zach Gowen in a ring against Ricochet? Why? There is literally, I could probably name 45 wrestlers that don't wrestle anymore that you could have made more sense with. Why is Zach Gowen wrestling on TV?
Because he has one leg. That's why.
Let's keep
like he did, didn't he?
Let's keep in mind that when they found Zach Gowen, first of all, my introduction to Zach Gowen was watching the weekly NWA TNA pay-per-views. That's number one. Number two, he was recognized as the wrong one-legged wrestler that John Laurinaitis got. It wasn't supposed to be him. It was supposed to be another guy.
Yep.
Because of his age and inexperience is what led him to having such a short time in WWE, where he was released in 2003. He had came back. He had came back to NWA TNA briefly for a cup of coffee, and then he was never to have been seen
he was in
again.
ROH. He was part of Age of the Fall for a little while in ROH. I remember those days.
Oh my God. I never even knew that. But because they were like, I guess Age of the Fall, if I was thinking about cartoons and watching X-Men, they would be like the Morlocks, right? So I guess that's fitting for him to be there. And that's also because that I call certain people at my job Morlocks. Anyway, my favorite Morlock is Leech. Kalisto! Anyway, I don't I get that they're trying to further elevate Ricochet as a heel. They want to do something big with Ricochet, I think. To the point where it was like WWE, you had it all wrong. You had something here, you let him go. I feel like that's what they're trying to push off. And kudos to them for doing that.
No, they
You
didn't.
know,
Oh, you don't think so?
is when you
No.
say that, and then I hear like this like segment with Zach Allen, all I hear is WWE going, I think we made the right decision.
Yes.
I think we made the right call. He's a nobody. Let him go.
I give them the Swerve. I give them Swerve because I feel that Swerve could have been better. But I think Swerve needed to be released. He became much better with promos and he got jacked up a little bit. And I think Swerve is the one guy that they lost that you could sit there and say, all right, this was a mistake.
Yeah.
Well, well, to be fair, we don't know the real reason as to why Swerve was released.
Agreed.
Some people threw out the accusation that AJ Francis, at the time known as Top Dollar, could have been the reason as to that, because he was, I guess, too aggressive, whatever the case is, because there is some sort of hidden beef between the two of them that hasn't been really pushed out there. But yeah, I get what you're saying with Swerve. But as far as Ricochet is always going to be recognized as just one of those really great high flyers that probably didn't have much to him as far as charisma goes. Do I like Ricochet more today than I did yesterday? Yes, because he's actually trying something.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually trying something. I don't know if people would have gone for Ricochet being a heel in WWE, because then he may have had to change up his style, possibly.
Somebody said something so funny about Ricochet. They said he's got a tattoo of a microphone on his arm and he cuts the worst promo.
The worst promo. I've seen that. Yeah.
How do you have a microphone tattoo? You can't even use it.
Also, not to take a shot at her. Seeing a video of Samantha Irving singing while doing a wrestling event.
That was weird.
The WrestleMania weekend, like mighty have fallen.
I feel like she's trying to do everything in her power to get her music over, and it's just like people just want her to ring announce, and it's just like screwed up. In life, you should be able to do as you please, but you know, nobody's feeling it at best. So that's why I don't say anything negative. I'm just like, oh, this is rough.
Yeah.
Listen, you're gonna do what you. Like, the problem is you think. Okay, so this is the issue. The issue is when this moron was in WWE and they gave us too much airtime, like Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, and they made her think that she had a fan base. She didn't have a fan base. You're a fucking ring announcer. You don't have a fan base. So going to a wrestling show and singing your stupid music is not going to work. It's going to be counterproductive because they don't care about that shit.
Can I tell you? I'll tell you the one guy who I feel like you can make the next AEW homegrown star, and there's so many little things to him. And the most obvious thing is that he is openly gay. It's Anthony Bowens. But like, listen, you look at him, he looks like a wrestler. He can wrestle in the ring. He can cut a promo. Like, you can do something with this guy. And I feel like they're just going to mid-card him because they don't know what to do with him.
I said Bowens, the more I looked at him, he was the guy between him and Caster.
Yeah.
So my issue was obviously the last AEW pay-per-view, I'm trying to remember best, is that they had him on their pre-show as opposed to having him on the main card when there was the open challenge match. And I was just like, I think they screwed up there to start to boot with, because, you know, I don't recall hearing about him losing or anything, but you have something here. Please don't screw it up.
Yeah.
The problem is now they turned him back to his indie gimmick, the 5-tool player shit. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to know what the fuck to do with him. And it's not because it's malicious. It's not because they don't like Anthony Bowens. It's because the leadership there is dog shit. And Tony Khan is the fucking doing.
He's nobody's friend, so he's just going to be a mid-card talent.
Yeah. And he'll get signed to NXT where he'll flourish.
Yeah.
Where a lot of their mid-card talent does happens.
We do have this Wednesday Samoa Joe and Jon Moxley for the title in a steel cage.
What?
Yeah.
We actually see the belt, or will still be in a briefcase.
100% in a briefcase.
They're doing double or nothing this month.
You know, if they could all just do us all a favor and just put the whole company in a briefcase, and Just close it right up.
So,
We don't have to
so
watch
what's
it again.
gonna happen is they have that. And there's another show coming up where they do the Owen final, which is gonna be Hangman and Ospreay. The winner of that is gonna face probably Moxley. I'm gonna assume Moxley keep the title till at least then.
I figured he would be facing that person at the Big Texas show, the All In show.
Yes,
They're
that's
not. They're
what
not. So Double or Nothing, I think, would be both the men's and women's finals of the Owen Hart Cup.
That would I would
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah.
I think
Because they're not doing Double or
holdout-
Nothing in Vegas is my favorite part. So
Yeah, I think the holdout for all of this is whoever doesn't win it, whoever wins. So say Moxley keeps the title by All In Texas. When they go back to Chicago in September, I think the money match that they're going to try to build is going to be Darby, and I think Darby's going to come back as the conquering hero.
I hope they swerve everybody, and Danielson's been bullshitting, and he's the one who comes back just to get everybody more upset.
I'd be okay with that too. It'd be something.
I will tip
different.
my cap to Darby Allin, who set a world record for a kick flip on Mount Everest. Congratulations. I don't think anybody cares, but you know, at least you did it.
I don't
You
think
did.
he did a kickflip. I'm impressed that he went to the top of Mount Everest. That's like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's more impressive.
Seriously.
But like the dude, he set a world record. He did a kickflip, and I just like, who gives a shit? He
I mean,
climbed Mount
granted,
Everest. That's the story.
Granted, I go to Disney's Animal Kingdom a lot, and they got Mount Everest there. I climb it all the time. So,
That's it.
Oh, look at you, you big shot! Look at this
Not
guy.
all superheroes wear capes. Apparently.
you know, I'm just saying, it's not that hard.
Get a load of Mike Greco, everybody. Everybody, we got Dotson here. Dotson, see? Nobody cares.
Before we get out of here, I just wanted to talk about Will Ospreay and his comments about how he said that like
This is what I was waiting for.
he thinks that he's better than everybody else in WWE, or they're not that good, or whatever the fuck.
On his worst day, he's better than everyone in WWE.
On his worst day, he's better than everybody in WWE. Can I listen? Now this might piss some people off, but I really don't give a fuck. I didn't even know who the fucking guy was at all, ever, until like you guys brought him up. If he would have never been brought up to me by you guys, I would not. I would like, who's this blonde guy on AEW? I would have never even known your fucking name. So at least like you may be a great wrestler. Congratulations, great worker, talented, fucking athletic. Well, I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying you suck. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is you're not very fucking memorable, at least in my eyes. So you might not be. They may on your worst day. First off, I can name 7 people on the WWF roster that could probably at least hold their own against this guy, and if not, be better than him, in my opinion. That's off the top of my fucking head. And it's Seth Rollins is number 1 on my list.
Correct.
It has to be. Seth Rollins could come on. You like really? You're gonna sit there and say that kind of shit? Seth Rollins is sitting there on the fucking roster right now. Like I enough. I don't like that kind of shit. I know you're just saying it to just to get a sound bite, and so you could get people to try to watch AEW or try to watch you. But I don't like that shit. And I get it, and I tip my cap to him that he's trying to flag AEW. He's waving the AEW flag. Watch our shit. Our shit's the best. I'm there. They're not that good. But don't say shit like that, because it's not true. There's guys over there that are good, if not better than you.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
Like you don't sit here and they can't hold. I get having confidence in oneself. I totally understand that. Like I said, not saying that Will Ospreay sucks. I'm not trashing the guy. I know he's athletic. I know he's gifted. I know he's good in the ring. But I don't fucking know the guy. So clearly he's not that he's not that special. At least to me. You Ricochet does your moves. All the flips and all the shit Ricochet does. Montez Ford does it easily. I see Montez Ford do it every fucking week now. So you're going to sit here and tell me that they can't hold a candle to you? Shut the fuck up. There's a guy in your own company does the same fucking moves as you. I mean, come on. You do the same fucking flippy moves. It's all
to be
flippy
fair, there's
moves.
a lot of those kind of guys.
That's what I'm saying. So who are you going to sit here and tell? There's 100 guys just like you. And you're going to sit there and say on your best day, these guys. Really?
If you tell me he's going to win the Owen, and it's going to be him and Moxley in Texas at All In, that's still nobody's going to care about that match. Not that nobody's going to care about it. It's not the match people are going to sit there and say, "Oh, I really want to see this."
This guy's claim to fame is he did a couple of flips with fucking Ricochet and they landed on their feet superhero style, right? And he did that dumb shit with the Asian dude where he did the fucking Hurricane Rani, landed on his feet. That's his claim. That's all I remember him for. I don't remember. And then you can say, oh, he had 5-star matches. Dude, do me a favor. Take Dave Meltzer's 5-star rating and jam it so far up your ass you can floss with it. Because I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about
how many
5-star rating.
How many 5-star matches does Shawn Michaels have? How many 5-star matches does Kurt Angle have?
Enough. Exactly. Enough with this
have?
5-star rating. Wrestling is not rated that way. It's subjective. Like, don't tell me, oh, he has 5-star matches. You're a fucking moron. If that's how you're going to come at me with that kind of logic, you're a fucking idiot. Okay? And you clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Bro, oi, that's all I hear on a promo with him.
Yeah,
bro.
Right? Get the fuck out of here. And listen, I know this guy. We have friends that love this guy. Brandon loves that fucking guy. Good.
No, okay. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate, like I said, if he doesn't say this, I like Will Ospreay. I enjoyed his matches. Okay. My issue with Will Ospreay matches is like what you say about Kevin Owens, I say about Will Ospreay. Every move is a finisher.
Everything.
Every move. You know,
video game wrestling, man, and he's public enemy number one for it.
Yeah, 100%.
I will say two things. Number one, Will Ospreay's opinion is his opinion and nobody else's. And number two, I don't do star ratings, I do fire ratings. And I give Tony's rant for this week 4.5 fires.
I'm sorry, man. I don't like that kind of shit. I just don't like first off, you're in AEW. That's not even second rate. That's like third, fourth rate. Like, you're in a shit company. It's a laughing stock at this point. And here's the thing. I'll tell everybody this right now as a hot take. When AEW first started, I was just like everybody else. I was intrigued. I was excited. I was interested because it's new. It's an alternative. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see what this is. This might change the game. This might make it fun again. Competition creates great moments, creates controversy, creates all these things that we would all want to see again. And within the first year and a half, 2 years, they became a joke. Okay.
Well, okay. Are we gonna can we directly tie Cody leaving to the downfall of AEW?
I don't even say that. I don't even say that's a direct
thing.
No.
But I don't mean that. I don't mean that from the wrestling side, the on TV stuff. I mean that from the backstage stuff. That Cody has the mind of, not say has the mind of Dusty, but is smart enough to be able to sit there and go, no, this doesn't work. This isn't a good idea.
He was probably sitting in meetings going, what? Like, and you can't fight everybody because there's a couple other EVPs there. There's Tony Khan, and you got to be within the thick tank, right? So you got to go along. You can't just say those ideas suck, because then you become the malcontent, right? So he was probably just like, you know what? Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, okay, we'll do that. Then when you start to see it starts to unravel, and you go, oh, wait a minute, the inmates are running this. We're running this. Tony Khan has no fucking idea. That's when he probably was like, you know what? I'd rather go back to have structure. And WWE was probably just coming knocking, realizing that Cody was making a name for himself. It could have been one of the things.
He said it himself. They called him this time.
That's what I'm saying. So listen, I wish AEW was good. Yeah. I can't stress that enough to people. People tell me all the time, why do you hate AEW? I don't want to hate AEW. I love wrestling. I don't want to hate nothing. I want it all to be good, because if it's all good, then there's always something to watch. Mm-hmm. There's always something to get into. If it's bad, then it's bad. And the problem is it's at its absolute worst. And this guy is trying to defend it and telling us, on my best day, everybody from the other company, which to me is run better, you can't hold a candle to me. But when I watch that company, if I tried to watch that company, I would ask myself, if you're so good, why didn't you go to the good one? Why did you come here? I'm not understanding it.
I'm gonna give away spoilers here. What I believe spoilers, okay? So AEW just released the promo poster and ticket sale thing for Forbidden Door, which will be held in London Sunday, August 24th. Will Ospreay is on the cover of the poster. So that tells me either he's winning the Owen and winning the title at All In, or at that show he's facing whoever the champion is for the title.
Yeah. Yeah, without question.
Because last year when you did Wembley and it was your biggest show, you didn't have the British guy in your main event for some reason.
No.
That's so stupid.
And it seems like the theme is he had the match with Jericho, then he had the match with MJF, and he didn't lose. So that's going to be like every time they travel to London, he's just not going to lose.
He's not going to lose.
Yeah, that's fucking.
He's not going to lose.
Let's get to some comments before we wrap this show up. I mean, AEW sucks. Now, Tristan T said that's exactly how I felt about Michael Cole's commentary. I'm assuming it's a shot at Michael Cole. Now, Michael Cole isn't one of my favorite commentators, but he like one of those like, oh, he'll suffice, right? At this point,
he's become more enjoyable now in the later years than.
Yeah, like I don't mind him. If you asked me to pick a commentary team, I would pick Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett at this point.
Yeah,
I like them two better than
Cheyenne and Wade Barrett. Got you.
Maybe that's why I like Tessitore so much. I'll accept that. Rough Shot says maybe Cena's promo was for the locker room on SmackDown. When did he cut a promo on SmackDown saying something that was maybe could have been garnered toward the locker room when he said this shit?
Possibly.
I can see all the release are still interested.
I see that too. It's almost an unusual trade up. It was like, oh, we let these guys go, and some of those people that they did let go did perform on TNA. So
most notably, Indy Hartwell was just
now signed. Yes.
Yeah.
She just got signed. So
he says, what are your guys' thoughts on the 2 nights of SummerSlam? I don't think it's a good idea, but
I wish they weren't doing it, and I've already seen the prices for those tickets. My girlfriend's like, we got to go. I was like, can we just go to the SmackDown that happens Friday and the Raw? Because I was just like, the sections that we want to sit in it's insane.
Yeah,
for 2 nights,
too much.
I saw for particular, I guess, sitting in the 100 section, it was almost. It's rent money, basically, folks. It's rent money.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I'd be much happier with a 5-hour pay-per-view on a Saturday that starts at 7 and is over by midnight, or even if you want to, 4.5 hours, whatever. Like 2 nights is a lot.
I think they're going to go the same formula of 7 and 7 since it is the WrestleMania of the summer, so to speak, or whatever it is they call it. So that's
but still,
what's gonna happen.
That to me, 2 nights
it's too much.
That's insane. Yeah, you don't need that.
I'm telling you, I feel like it's going to start becoming the new norm for the big 4 pay-per-views.
Oh, stop! Don't say that about the Royal Rumble.
I'm telling you,
at least there it makes sense.
Malik, I sit here today, Monday, May 12th, 12:19 p.m. Okay, I have a beautiful chicken roll dinner for you. Should they not do this come January?
If they do it 2 nights at Survivor Series, what would you do? 2 War Games matches?
Yes.
No, you'd wind up doing 4 War Games matches. But you got 2 nights.
Oh, no, it main events both nights. Just one.
Yeah, I was assuming. Yeah, one each night would main event.
Or the title match main events one night and then War Games the other night.
I don't know if they'll have the female star power for it to main event.
Right. So you'll put the men's title as the main event with the women's War Game on that show, and then on the next show it'll be the women's title and the men's War Games.
I hope not. Let CM Punk have Cena. That man left the belt, and the man who wants to leave with the belt. I mean, listen, that could happen. Cena and Punk are going to cross paths between now and December for sure, right?
I'm gonna say, I said the other day, like Emily corrected me, she's absolutely right. I'm gonna say probably now SummerSlam would make sense, or Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if Punk will do that.
I'm still questioning whether or not they're going to do a draft. Number 1,
okay,
and number 2, if you move CM Punk to SmackDown, you get him away from Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
because I feel like Roman Reigns will be moved to Raw, so that way he's on Netflix whenever they need to use him. The ratings probably may go up with CM Punk being on SmackDown, and that would be a nice change of pace to where then you can have the old-time rivals of John Cena and CM Punk going at it.
Now Rough Shot says here, Cena had to break the first table while he was laying down. Is that what happened?
Oh, because I think he took the attitude adjustment on the table and it didn't break. And then, I guess he fell off, and then the table just went.
Yeah.
That's funny. And then he said Cena should have accepted R-Truth. It would have been great. Maybe been yeah, you're right. I am your favorite wrestler or whatever the fuck, and been patronized them maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but then you would have saw the setup. He's eventually going to get him, and I'm kind of. It's just weird that he. I thought there would have been at least been somebody screaming, reacting. It was just everybody just kind of just sat there in silence, and he just took that move, and I was just like, nothing.
Nobody.
No,
was like, oh my
nothing.
goodness! Get some help. R-Truth is hurt. John, why would you do that?
Not a damn thing. That was why I was like, that was the weird part.
Triple H run back out and be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
that would have been interesting.
So Tristan says, yeah, they couldn't find anything more to do with Braun Strowman anymore, apparently. Yeah, well, listen, you hit when you're an attraction, the attraction wears off. So, like, when you're a big guy, a giant, or whatever the fuck is, like, eventually it just wears off.
Yeah.
And people are like, all right.
That's
what else
probably the reason why we did not care about the Big Show. WCW, we felt like probably didn't know what to do with him at the time. Then he moved over to WWE, and straight away, losing to Austin, I don't know if that hurt him necessarily, but booking him to be face or heel for the better part of at least like over a decade was one of the things that was more and more ridiculous. To me, Big Show's best runs were probably from the time he was put with Paul Heyman or his ECW run. There's no other time that I was enjoying the Big Show.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with that. It's actually, I did like Jericho when he teamed up with Jericho.
Yeah, okay.
Jericho's
There's those three moments in time for his run are the ones that always stand out for me.
One of the rare times that Jericho was important. Anyway.
Yeah.
See. I didn't want to go there with you today.
Next week we're gonna finally have this Jericho discussion.
But he's okay. So the Rumble's in Saudi Arabia, though, so they don't think you're
correct.
Well, what's up, Nico? It's good to see you, but yeah, dude, that's the thing, man. Like, I listen, WrestleMania. I understand being 2 nights. It's WrestleMania. SummerSlam. Now you're pushing your luck. If you go to Royal and fucking Survivor Series now, it's like overkill enough. Stop doing it. But that, like you just said, 10 fucking events in the next 9 weeks or whatever the fuck it is. I don't think they give a shit.
From here to the summer, it's a lot of events coming up for WWE.
Yeah, so I don't really think they give a shit. So I hope you guys are ready. A lot of wrestling coming.
Let's go.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Everybody who came through, thank you for the chat. I appreciate you, man. As always, you can catch us every Monday here, 10:30 a.m. on False Finish Productions. Listen, it's a lot to talk about every week, so we'll be here every week to talk about it. What's going on tonight on Monday Night Raw before we get out of here? Anything important?
Just, I guess, everything from Backlash. I'm sure
all I know is they said CM Punk showing up, and they're more than likely going to do qualifying match Funny in the Bank. I bet you by the time we all get off from this show right now, that didn't even come out right the way it sounds in my head now. Once we're done with the show, I bet you there'll be a post from Adam Pearce about who's qualifying for what.
Yeah. Well, that being said, ladies and gents, that's Greco, that's Malik. I'm Tony. This has been Spot Monkey Radio. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. And, of course, my lovely producer. Well, you're very quiet and you're angry over there. So it's very hard. I did not forget you. I would never forget you, first off. And bring down the mic so you could say goodbye. You want to sign us off? For my wife, Dominique. For Mike Greco, for Malik, for myself, this has been Spot Monkey Radio. I enjoy you guys. We'll catch you next week. Peace.